Alright, so, I already opened up all of the, 2 starter decks that we got last time, and I went ahead and I improved my deck, using a bunch of these cards. I also, in between episodes, got the Kaiba starter deck as well. Didn't really get as many good cards from that, as I did the previous, 2 starter decks. Those had a lot better staples, so it's a good thing I bought those 2 first, but I guess in hindsight it doesn't really matter. Getting DP in this game is a lot easier than I initially thought. But in any case, I've sort of come up with a theme, I guess, for the deck that I'm playing. Primarily what I have is that it's pretty simple. I just play a lot of equipped spells, and, well, maybe not a lot, but I play equipped spells on my monsters. I, for the most part, inflict a burn damage on my opponent, but I can also recover an LP for myself. So I do a lot of LP manipulations. I have some early stages of a psychic deck here, which is pretty interesting because I actually used to use a psychic deck in real life. But what we're going to actually do today is we're going to duel these 2 chums here in this card shop, and you'll see why once we're done with that. So this guy, I believe we already faced once before. I am what is called an elite duelist. As such, I have come to this town to win all the trophies from every single tournament. It should not be too difficult for an elite duelist of my caliber. You think you can beat the elite? You have the courage of a lion! Fine, let us see if your actions can muster up to your words. So let's go ahead and take on this guy here. I just find it kind of interesting that I'm using a burn type of deck, because I really don't like burn decks. It's just always been kind of sort of a weird thing for me, because, for example, I would see burn decks being, or rather not burn decks, I would see burn cards in these early Yu-Gi-Oh games. I would kind of think, whoops, I keep banging my thing into the desk. I keep thinking to myself, like, what is the necessary point to these cards? I mean, you have so much life points to begin with, right? You have 8,000 life points. I'm gonna go ahead and put in a card that, you know, inflicts 200 life points of damage? That's stupid. But then later on, we got some decent cards like Ozaki, I think it's called, and stuff like that that inflicts, you know, some decent points of damage. And I was like, alright, well, that's fine, but at the same time, like, I'm not gonna win the duel with one of those. And at the time, I hadn't thought that it would be highly likable that you can do the crazy combos you can nowadays, where you can draw your entire deck in one turn so easily. So I didn't really consider burn cards to be very effective. They're actually very sort of influential, I guess is the word, in the metagame, because a lot of decks, I think, I mean, no. I guess Yu-Gi-Oh! Is mainly composed of just being able to summon out your strong monsters real quickly and locking down your opponent so they can't really do anything after that. That's mainly the main gist of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? However, I'm going to end up having to get rid of this Gear Freak. Like, he does have good attack, but with all these equipped cells, he's kind of holding me back. But yeah. It's mainly just been that, just summoning all your monsters, especially mainly from your extra deck, and locking down so your opponent can't do anything. That's been the main way to win in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel. And that's been the main sort of climate for Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. As well. I say Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, I just mean Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels. And, you know, Burn did have some place in that. Like, you know, there was Dark Strike Fighter, and a couple of other cards that did inflict damage on your opponent, but I think the reason why those things aren't as prevalent, like, you don't really see too often, like, just burn style of decks taking over tournaments and stuff like that, is because usually that shit is banned immediately. Those kinds of combos where you can just pound down your opponent's life point in one turn, that kind of stuff is usually done and gone with before it can, like, really be used in official tournaments like that. Usually, I mean, I can't really say that I'm speaking from, like, experience or from any sort of research I've done in the topic. I'm just talking from, like, what I can somewhat ascertain from what I know of the main official duel scene. I don't know what you want to call it. So as far as I know, that seems to be the case. Like, when anything like that comes down, it usually gets the ban hammer pretty quickly. Similarly with OTKs, just because, like, while summoning your opponent, while summoning a bunch of cards and locking down your opponent, does two things. One, it lets Konami get a shit ton of money because you're using a lot of expensive cards. You're also generally not winning right away. You know, and your opponent can also do the same thing. Whereas like in burn decks and OTKs, you kind of just sit there and just take it. Like, there's really not a lot of input from your side of the field. So that's why I feel like that's why those things get knocked down pretty quickly. But they always seem to crop up. There's always cards that just randomly inflict burn damage. Like, I don't know, Konami has this weird obsession with, like, burn damage. They just put in random text, like, oh, this card inflicts 200 points of damage. Like, why? Why the extra? Like, who cares about that extra damage? And it happens a lot in, for example, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Like, in there, it matters a lot more. In the television series, because, you know, the LP is cut in half. Start with 4,000 instead of the 8,000 you do in the official game. So there, if you were to lose, you know, 500 life points, it means a lot more than when you were to lose when you had 8,000 life points. Like, literally, it means double. So that's why, for example, now in Duel Links, there's a lot of decks that have come to, I guess, to rise up into ranks because of their ability to burn out your opponent. And it's so much easier to do this in Duel Links because of the fact that your life points are so much lower. But, I mean, that's only what I know, to be honest. So yeah, we got Okazi here. I'm just gonna go ahead and activate that. Like, my opponent literally can't do anything at this point. He could have maybe activated if he had, like, negate attack or something, and I tried to attack him or did something, but now he just lost a duel because I just had two cards that inflicted burn damage. But, I mean, to be fair, I was way ahead. Had hella a lot of life points compared to him. So, I don't know. But yeah, the main point what I was trying to get to is just my relationship with burn cards, which isn't really one that's too high. I don't really have any sort of association with burn cards. I don't really run a burn style deck ever. That I can think of, the closest to that would have been Psychic Monsters when I used those, but that mainly was just, you know, LP manipulation in terms of, like, I would sacrifice a lot of my life points in order to get some sort of advantage. It was a lot less me taking down my opponent's life points to effects and stuff, you know? But I always had this sort of a lore that maybe that would be really cool. I definitely see the appeal of it, because it just has that sort of sense of, like, haha, you can't do anything, get fucked by this one card that I have, you know? And you can, like, it could be neck and neck, and you could just draw the one Final Flame, or not even Final Flame, Itama or Sparks, and do 200 points of damage. And, you know, if it's a close game, you would just win the duel and you won't have anything to worry about. So I do see that, but I never really felt like they were really worth my time. I guess I just found it more exciting or more entertaining for me to just go out and summon my monsters and, you know, do all these other kind of combos than to just kind of focus on burning my opponent's life points like that. I don't know. I don't like one-turn kills or first-turn kills or any of that kind of stuff where it takes away the chance for my opponent to do anything, or more particularly when I'm the opponent and I'm getting hit with one of these. I don't like that kind of shit. That's why I don't like playing games like Marvel vs. Capcom. I used to love those games because I thought it was really cool, and then, you know, I had friends that liked playing it, so we would get around. It was really fun. But then, you know, Marvel vs. 3 came out, and it was the same thing. We were having fun, and then our one friend came over who was, of course, really good at the game because she actually practices it. Which, I mean, I'm not knocking that. That's totally fine. But, you know, she would just clean us out, and it's like, I literally couldn't do anything. And then I would go and I would watch, like, I wouldn't say official matches, but just, like, higher level players, you know, actual competitive players compete. And they just, it's literally like, who can get off of their infinite combo first? And it was just like, well, that's really fucking stupid. Like, why would I be into that? Why would I want to sit? Like, I get the appeal of sitting at home, or wherever it may be, and getting all this practice in to pull off your infinite combo to beat your opponent, and then you go and you just do that, and all your hard work pays off because that's how you win. And once you do that sequence perfectly, not only does it look crazy that you pulled off this amazingly choreographed sequence, but you also won because of that, and it's through your hard work and dedication and blah 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 blah. I get that, but like, fuck that. I don't want to. None of that sounds exciting to me or entertaining to me. It just sounds really lame. I mean, that's just me. That's why I don't like go out, get my pitchforks, and be like, oh, fuck Marvel vs. Capcom. It's just like, I just won't play it, man. It's that simple. But that's sort of how I see it when it comes to, you know, burn decks or OTKs or that kind of stuff, where you just kind of, you take away any sort of ability from your opponent. I feel that's kind of lame. Like, I get not letting your opponent, you know, like, being really anti-meta, not letting your opponent play a lot of good cards, and, you know, locking down your opponent, having a lot of good combos, making it so they, like, reading your opponent really well so they can't really play well. Like, I get all of that, but making it so that they literally cannot play a game is just kind of pointless. Just, like, at that point, you're just doing it for winning. Like, I get it, winning's cool and everything, but, like, why are you playing a game if you just want to win, you know? But the only real experiences I've had with burn decks is that I used to have sort of like my own little dueling crew back in high school. We'd get together at my house, and I would throw like little dueling tournaments. And there was this one kid who would always come in with his burn deck. He had your basic fire deck with, you know, I forgot what the name was. Soul Fire Dragon, I think it was, or Solar Fire Dragon. That card where it has like 1500 attack each turn, you lose. Your opponent loses 500 LP at the end of the turn, at the end of every turn, I believe it is. And if there's another fire type monster on the field, your opponent has to attack them first. So if they play two of those, you can't attack them, or if they have Gravity Bind or any of that kind of shit, you just can't do anything, and you just sit there and get burned. He had one of those decks, but his main flaw was that he cheated. He straight up bandicoot that shit. He would, whenever no one was paying attention, he would just go ahead and just draw an extra card. Real conveniently, just add it to his hand real quickly, and that's why he would manage to get his wins. Ho! Impressive win! I'm actually going to hold a tournament in my store. What do you say? Will you enter? Hell yeah! Excellent! It'll be the day I close my store. I'll be waiting for you. So, the store is actually closed on Tuesdays. So we're actually going to have to go ahead and skip until then. But in the meantime, I will actually go ahead here and take on Teo. Are you a duelist? Just to let you know, I'm not bad myself. Let's duel. I'm not going to be beaten that easily. But yeah, this guy would just straight up cheat. Just add cards to his hand. And then me being, you know, the Yami Yugi figure I was in my group, I was the one that actually noticed it. But he just kind of was just like, oh shit. Like, the deer in headlight looks that he gave me, I was just like, come on, man. Like it just kind of like absorbed, like it kind of hit me all at once. I was kind of like, this man paid God knows how much money. Maybe he got these cards for free. And the only way he can make himself feel good is to come in here and cheat in a card game just so that he can get a couple of wins. It's the only way that it be. And on top of that, you know, his playstyle matches that, because it's just him making it so his opponents, they can't do anything. They just sit there and they just watch as you just take away their life points. And that's just boring as hell, for me at least. I think if I were playing that kind of deck, I find that really boring. But aside from that, you know, he's already doing that. He's already doing as much as he can to make it so that his opponent can't do anything, and so that they lose the duel. But then on top of that, he has to go ahead and cheat. Like, but why? Like, that was the most unnecessary extra shit I've ever seen in my life. But in any case, I believe I was the one I'm pretty sure I was the one facing him, and I was kind of like, whatever, I'll let it slide. And then I ended up beating him anyways, and now I'm not trying to, like, you know, stroke my own dick, toot my own horn or anything like that. I didn't, like, finesse him or do some sort of crazy combo or did some sort of anime shit where, like, because if he was cheating, I used the harder card. No, he just got a really shit hand. And then I managed to get some good hand. Like, he had his, like, Fire Dragon out, and I managed to get, like, I don't know, Fissure or, like, something like that early to finish it off, and he couldn't draw anything even after he cheated. He still couldn't get anything good. So then he just went ahead and just got owned, because, you know, he really couldn't do anything else aside from that. Once those decks, once you don't have, once you brick slightly and you don't get the right combination of cards, you're kind of screwed. This kind of sucks. I don't want to use Man-Eater Bug's effect just yet, but if I flip it, I'm going to have to destroy a monster. So we're just going to have to hold on until next turn to summon Skull. And she's just going to bring up her life points. I wanted to do her specifically because he just kind of negates any of my douchebaggery that I would do playing a burn deck. But yeah, in any case, I managed to beat this guy, and it was just, the entire never was kind of like, bro, why? Like, in my head, I was just thinking, like, why was all of this necessary? Like, but at the same time, I kind of understood it, like, I get it. Like, I get the idea of winning equals fun, and losing equals not fun. That's understandable, too. So I get why people resort to these kinds of things, where they have to make it so that you just have overwhelming advantage in order for them to win. I get that, but at the same time, once you really look down into it, you're not having any fun. I really don't think so. You're not having fun. All you're really doing is maybe building up your confidence in some sort of way, or you're stroking your ego because you're getting all these wins and you feel like either the people around you or whoever, they see you a lot higher because you're winning, or you see yourself a lot higher because you're winning. It's not that you're having fun. It's not at all fun that you're having. It's just you happen to feel better about yourself for whatever reason. And I'm not saying there's anything completely wrong with that. It's definitely not good, but I mean, it could be a lot worse. So I don't know. That's my whole take on the matter. I just really wanted to sort of get that out there. But I'm coming out here saying this, all this shit, but it sounds kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I always do this. I never know what words are. Words are hard, man. I keep like coming up with it in my head and then I just forget it. Two-faced, hypocritical. There we go. Jesus. Hypocritical of me, because you know now I'm using a burn deck. So I'm preaching all of this big talk, and then here I am using those same exact sort of methods to win duels. But honestly, I figured I might as well give it a shot. I've been so against it for so long, I might as well just try it. Like, there's a lot of things that I was against when I was younger because I thought it was too mainstream or too whatever. And then later on in life, I ended up trying it out. I was like, oh, actually, this isn't half bad. So I guess that's what I'm trying to do here. She managed to give me a good amount of DP just because of the fact that I took out extra LP from her. But in any case, we've actually managed to unlock the duel tournament. The first duel tournament that we're going to be able to take on is going to be the card shop tournament. In order to do that, we're just going to have to basically stay in bed every night until Tuesday. And then we'll be able to take on the card tournament. Stay fresh,